It is after 8 p.m. in Nairobi. This is Sidebar. My name is Madowo. We have a lot to talk about, specifically about devolution. But first, let's get this show on the road, shall we?
We intend to host approximately 100,000 visitors.
Hi, Mutahi Kahiga.
Nothing should come in the way of the completion of that stadium.
We want to ensure that you have a very strict code of conduct.
Sisi wengine wote tumeshikana bega kwa bega, Nyeri yetu itoke namba 47 iende namba 1.
Unite for purpose. You don't have to like anybody. You don't have to like somebody because he is tall or small.
But he also recognized something that was fundamentally important. That the two levels of government, national government and county government, are not in competition with one another, but are actually complementary.
In this hour, we'll speak to the governor of Nyeri, Mutahi Kahiga, in just a moment. Also coming up, the governor of the fine people of Nakuru County, Lee Kinyanjui, will join me. But first, I want to take you to Nyeri. He is the newest governor in the land, Mutahi Kahiga. Thank you so much for being here this evening. How are you settling in, sir? It's just been over a week since you took your oath of office.
Thank you, Larry. Good evening, Kenya.
How are you settling in?
We welcome you from the slopes of Nyeri.
Are you doing well so far, Governor? Give me what have the first few days of your governorship been like?
Yes, Larry, it's been tough. This county has gone through quite a number of things, but we are settling in well.
What are the big priorities for you as you take over in this county of Nyeri?
Well, Larry, we needed to set up government a second time, and we are so far moving on very well. We have the executive committee in place. Indeed, today I've had a long meeting with them as we set up on making the county integrated development plan. So we are ready to move, and we focused on achieving our goals.
How much of the county executive team are you keeping from what was the late Governor Gakuru's team?
Before Governor Gakuru passed on, we had set up, we had 9, and I'm keeping all of them.
Why did you decide to keep all of them instead of putting up your own team, sir?
Well, Larry, we had set up the team together. We had interviewed them and had agreed that they really were worth.
There are those who did not even want you to take the oath of office. They wanted you to resign so that a new election can be in effect in Nyeri. What do you tell those people who did not want you to take the oath of office?
It doesn't matter now. We are in office. Let's move on.
What are the big challenges for Nyeri County citizens that you intend to address?
Well, number one, Larry, we must become a county that is food sufficient. It's a big shame if Nyeri cannot feed its people. And so agriculture takes the largest chunk of our resources in terms of time and money. And we indeed intend to go back to the farms. As a government, we will provide extension officers and all the required machinery to our people.
What about...
Because really, we really feel that until we are food sufficient, then we can think about marketing. But however, we have our strong areas traditionally. That is the coffee, the tea, and our dairy products. We will work towards improving, number one, that is in terms of the production, the quantity and the quality, so that we are able to improve the income of our farmers.
A lot of youth have hopes in you, hoping that they will get jobs, and the issue of county jobs has become almost political. Some people feel only some groups of people are favored. How will you handle this? One, to create more opportunities for employment in terms of economic development, but two, within those county jobs that are available, that you're giving everyone has an equal chance.
Yes, number one, meritocracy will be the guiding principle. Mm-hmm. This is something we had agreed with Dr. Wahome Gakuru. We had taken a vow never to hire any of our relatives. Mm-hmm. And we were focused on giving Nyeri a working public service. We can only achieve that by looking at qualifications. Promotions are on meritocracy, and ensuring that there is fairness and justice. In terms of creating jobs, we are focused on the trader, the trader on the street, the mama who is selling cabbages. That's the people. That's our really focus. We want to empower them through training and provision of funds to start up those small businesses, mm-hmm. so that they are able to create employment for themselves and even for others.
How do you make sure that you're raising funding from these small traders? In many counties, they complain that the county government overtaxes them, but the services are not provided. How will you play that balance?
We will ensure that whatever the small trader pays is commensurate with what they are earning. Many times it will not be more than 10 shillings. Mm-hmm. For the trader on the street, maybe some little money just to ensure that we can keep services rolling. But it's not about them that we are focused. We want, in terms of revenue, we want to raise our revenue streams in other ways.
What are those other ways you intend to raise revenue from?
Well, of course, looking at Nyeri, in terms of tourism, is quite a hub. It's a giant that has not really woken up. What do you say, Larry, when Queen Elizabeth was here, when she received the information that she was queen? Lord Baden-Powell is here. Field Marshal Kimathi has his shrine around. Mm-hmm. We have the second largest mountain in Africa. These are lying giants that we need just to use them. And we are focused on improving trade and tourism by increasing funding and becoming more innovative in as far as ensuring that we have proper packages.
Is the county government getting enough funding from the national government for everything you need to do?
No, I really don't think we are getting enough, but we work within the means.
In the past few months, since the general election, there were complaints from a lot of counties that the disbursements had been slow and that was crippling a lot of activities, in some cases even paying salaries. What is the situation in Nyeri?
The situation in Nyeri is on issues development. Mm-hmm. We are pretty stuck. We still need to pay a few providers. Mm-hmm. But on the issue of salaries have been flowing. Mm-hmm. Yes, so on that matter, we may not complain a lot. But we are promising Nyeri people that as soon as funds begin flowing, we will roll out our development programs for them.
I want to take this question. Somebody is asking you, ask the governor whether they have plans to uplift the coffee farmers' lot by opening up farm gate marketing.
Well, our focus now Larry, like I said, is not going to be on marketing. Clearly, you need to know that statistics show that in terms of quality and quantity, we are not doing well. And this is why our focus is going to be improving on quantity and quality. We have in our supplementary budget set aside funds to engage with the farmers in terms of reducing acidity of the soil, bringing in the extension farmers to work with the farmers, especially towards better methods of farming. We also have the inputs. We are thinking of introducing lime and manure, so that once we have improved the quantity and the quality, then we can talk about marketing.
All right.
Many times we feel that we focused on the wrong thing.
How did your background prepare you for this job? You're a trade unionist, you were a teacher before, and now you're in this administrative role in a pretty big county.
There are a few things you also didn't say, Larry.
Like what?
I've done so many things. I've been a sports administrator.
Right.
I've run cooperatives as a chairman, and I have also been an administrator in school.
Yes.
In a number of schools, both primary and secondary schools. So this has really prepared me for what I've come across here, and I have no doubt in my mind that I'm equal to the task.
And we wish you very well. Governor, stay with me. I have to take a quick break. I'll come back to chat some more with you, and we'll also bring out, when we come back from the break, Governor Lee Kinyanjui of Nakuru will join us. Please come back in a moment. And Mnangagwa is widely expected to be the next president of Zimbabwe. He's already the president of the ZANU-PF party, which has ruled Zimbabwe since independence in 1980. It's a developing story. We have more on in the next hour here on NTV. Right now, though, back to Sidebar. We're talking about devolution. Governor Lee Kinyanjui of Nakuru is joining me. Also still here with me is Governor of Nyeri, Mutahi Kahiga. Governor Kinyanjui, how are you settling into being governor? You have been an elected MP before. You were chairman of NTSA, and now you are running again one of the big counties in the country.
Thank you. I think it's important to note that devolution is actually one of the best things that have happened to this country, because through devolution we are able to identify what is important to the communities, to prioritize our agenda, and also to be able to use the resources accruing for the benefit of the communities where we serve. So Nakuru offers a great opportunity, because Nakuru, unlike many counties, has many economic fronts. From energy, where we have our carrier in Naivasha and geothermal here in Nakuru, to agriculture, where we have almost every crop except palm, to again tourism, where Nakuru is a key tourism circuit, and also manufacturing hub that is Nakuru. So I think it's right to say that Nakuru is really a challenging opportunity, but I also believe that we have the necessary knowledge and experience to be able to help our people to benefit from this huge opportunity.
All right, stay with me, Governor Kinyanjui. I want to come back to you, and I've also seen some questions from the audience that I want to put to you. But first, to Governor Kahiga and Nyeri. A question came in from Felix Mureithi. Governor Kahiga says, what is your plan to include the youth in your governance, taking into consideration that your youth representative is 60 years old? Your CEC for the youth is, I think, 65 years old, and people think that is problematic. Governor Kahiga.
Thank you, Larry. I think whoever is asking that question is a little bit behind. I appointed 9 executive committee members, and I never appointed anybody who was 65. So we are still in the process of looking for the right and the best person to handle that ministry.
Talk to me about infrastructure, because I want to play this soundbite about Ruringu Stadium, which is such an iconic facility in Nyeri County. Listen.
Things should come in the way of the completion of that stadium. You must remember also that Kenya lost the opportunity to host CHAN 2018 simply because we were a little bit slack in our preparations of the stadiums that were supposed to be and the facilities. And so as Nyeri County, we want to pledge that as a county government, we are following up on this matter and we will keep a tab on it. And in the next few days, we should be able to get everything moving on.
Through public management, we also want to ensure that the issues to do with corruption of public officers, people who are sent to go and collect revenue for the county but want to compromise for personal gain, again, we want to ensure that we have very strict code of conduct.
I'm seeing complaints about infrastructure from both counties. I'll go to Nakuru, but let me start with Nyeri Governor. What is your plan around fixing the infrastructure? There are complaints about bad roads all over Nyeri County.
Larry, we intend really we have input close to 380 million shillings towards infrastructure and especially roads. We intend to maybe in every over 30 wards, we intend to gravel close to 10 kilometers per ward. That will give us about 300 kilometers of gravel. We also intend to tarmac our urban centers. We're talking of Nyeri, Karatina in the first year, and this will be replicated in the years to go. In terms of Lorengo Stadium, national government is working closely with us to ensure that we have that stadium completed in time.
All right. Finally, Governor, what are your promises, or what is your promise to the people of Nyeri about your administration? What will you do for them?
Number one, I want to promise the people of Nyeri that we are going to run a transparent, clean government. We will ensure that they get value for money. Like I said, meritocracy will be the key point, but we are going to focus on ensuring that Nyeri can feed itself. We want to to attract investment and retain it. And finally, maybe it's important that we need to say that we are leveraging on technology in order that we may raise our revenue and maybe seal the holes where we lose revenue. But I can promise Nyeri, all the promises we have made will be met. You can take that to the bank.
I'm sure they will be watching you to see exactly what you deliver. Governor Mutahi Kahiga and Nyeri, thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. And Governor Kinyanjui, you were talking about corruption, which is a problem in many counties. The county executives, the county assembly, the county officials steal money all the time. It's kind of a crisis right now. How will you deal with corruption in Nakuru?
I think that for us to be able to address issues to do with corruption, we have to look at the systems that we have and ensure that the systems are not deliberately flawed to allow such practices to happen. So as a result of that, we will strengthen our systems and ensure that we have a reporting mechanism that would allow those who attempt to make gain out of public assets to be reported and action to be taken immediately. But I think also it is important to note that if we were able to use public resources for the intended purposes, most of the counties and government projects would actually be having sufficient funding. So even before we seek to increase our revenues in any big ways, I think the first thing must be to ensure that there is efficiency in use of public resources and that money goes to the intended use. If you have money allocated to buy medicines for a particular hospital, that money must go for that particular purpose. And I think that is our core theme, because we have seen how far corruption and wastage has made some of our service provisions to become.
And you have a lot of challenges. Njuguna 254 says, as a registered voter in Nakuru, what does Governor Kinyanjui plan to do about garbage, dilapidated roads, hawkers, extensive business permits, educational standards, health sector, security, basically everything in the county he's got a problem with.
Well, I guess the challenges, especially to do with the solid waste management, are not unique to Nakuru. Any growing urban center will have this problem because we are coming together and you generate more and more waste, and as a result of that, the issue of how you manage it becomes an issue. But I think what is important is that we have started the process here in Nakuru. Today we had an inspection of the main garbage site here, which has been an eyesore to many people, and we are trying to rehabilitate it and therefore make it more user-friendly, and it is just next to the road. We remove it, and very soon again we'll be floating tenders for companies that have expertise in waste to energy, so that again our waste out there does not just end up as waste, but indeed can be converted to add to the national grid, and I think more importantly to bring revenue to the county and to the investors. Secondly, in the area of small-scale business traders, you have asked about licenses and all those other issues. I think it is extremely important that we work on a program that ensures that many of the Kenyans do not have formal employment. As a result, if you want to help them, what you can do is to create a favorable business environment, an environment that will allow them to grow, and with regard to this, we'll come up with an elaborate program for the SME sector to be able to train them in their areas of expertise, and also to be able to give them areas to be able to market their produce so that they can be able to get more out of what they do.
Okay.
I would also want to say that from where we sit also, we appreciate that a lot of the agricultural produce back there at home, the cost or the price that the farmer gets is often about 30 to 40%. If you're able to add value on that crop, the farmer will get more, and livelihoods will improve. So again, we will be encouraging private sector and generally all of us who are involved in agriculture to look at agriculture beyond just producing the crop, to actual marketing, to actual value addition, and therefore agriculture ceases to be just agriculture, but agribusiness.
Governor, let me just leave it there just for the moment. I have to take another quick break. We'll be back to conclude our conversation and talk more about what you're doing in Nakuru County right after the break. We are still here with Governor Lee Kinyanjui of Nakuru. We're talking about devolution. And Governor, a question here from Eugene B. My question to Governor Lee, how will he solve the problem of inclusivity, considering Nakuru is cosmopolitan and not sidelining some communities?
Well, I think that's an important matter that we need to address, and I guess even at the national level we have had good attempts to be able to solve it. But the reality is that so far in the first formations of government, the county government that is, we've been able to include as much as is practical, because at the end of the day you also need to look at inclusivity, vis-a-vis also ability to perform and qualifications. But bridging the two together, I would say we are making good progress. And at the end of the day, we will be able to include as many as is possible, while still ensuring that the performance of the county in terms of delivery on our core mandate remains on course.
In the first 100 days since you came into the office, what have been your achievements, Governor?
Thank you. I think it's good to first agree that the first 100 days have also had serious interruptions, ranging from repeat election, and the disbursements from the national government have also not been on course. And therefore, this 100 days, and I think this stands true to all counties. But despite that, we have had key achievements. And I would say the first one is when we got into office, within the first 2 days, we commissioned a health task force to be able to look at all the challenges affecting the health sector. And they were able to deliver a report within about 35 days. And that report is actually the document that we're using to be able to transform our health sector. Secondly, we must also say that the issue of solid waste management is a key issue. We have already commenced rehabilitation of the major dam site in Nakuru. and together working with the communities that are there to see how we can be able to transform the place and also the people who make a living out of it. In the area of agriculture, which is also the backbone of the larger Nakuru economy, we are working very closely with the pyrethrum sector, which for many years was the backbone of a lot of the rural homesteads in Nakuru. And we are partnering also with the processors who've already been licensed by government, and we are targeting to have about 5,000 acres of land under pyrethrum. We have also partnered in terms of setting up the planting material and also being able to train our farmers and also motivate them to be able to start agriculture. In the area of sports, we have also designated the region around the Keringet area as a place for training for athletics, because Nakuru is gifted with young men and women who have also been able to accomplish big in the national field and also internationally. And because of lack of facilities, they've not been able to really go very far. So again, as a county, we have seen that as a huge asset, and we are partnering with the communities around that area to be able to realize the full potential of sports.
All right.
Also closely linked to that is the issue of planning. I know many counties or many residents would want to see everything being done the first day, but the reality is that if you want to do something good, you have to plan and plan right. So what we've begun is to get the right teams to be able to plan our agriculture, to plan our towns, to plan our sports, and so that when we actually get to implementation, we'll be doing what we've already planned.
Okay, all right.
Say, if you spend half your time in planning, you will realize that the actual implementation will be very easy. So again, I would say in the area of planning, including also the physical planning of our towns, we are also very keen on that. Lastly, allow me to say that Nakuru is one of the 2 towns that are earmarked for upgrade to a city status. Again, we are closely working with stakeholders, including the business community, to ensure that we don't just get upgraded by name. We also have infrastructure to be able to match that. Our planning in terms of urban planning is able to match that. Business opportunities also match a city status.
Okay.
The infrastructure around the city is also one that is commensurate with the city, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
In the area of value addition and industry, we also note that Nakuru is endowed with almost every cash crop, and also food crops for that matter.
Okay.
So again, we want to work very closely with investors to ensure that we set up value addition industries in the county, and also to encourage our SACCOs, many of which are formed but require a certain impetus to be able to grow to the next level.
Okay.
So that we cease to be just producers of food, but also people who produce, package and market their produce, so that we can be able to increase the wealth for our region. And in the area of environmental conservation, it's also good to note that Nakuru, part of Nakuru is actually the Madowo forests. We have Lake Nakuru, we have Lake Naivasha, we have Lake Elementaita, and these are all areas that are of great interest to the environmental setup of the country at large.
Okay, Governor, you're a great salesman for Nakuru. I'm sorry, I have to just jump in here real quickly.
That we retain our balance as a county.
All right.
And the ecosystem is particularly important.
Okay.
And in line with this, we will be starting an ambitious program to plant trees, what we call reforestation, in areas that were previously under forests, and also to encourage our ordinary farmers in their ordinary homes with 1 acre or 2 acres to be able to plant.
Governor,
we'll be
Governor, I have to leave it there.
Trees,
Thank you
for example,
so much
fruit trees that have both benefit of being a tree and also can be able to supplement their diet. So these, among many others, some of the things we are planning to do in the coming days.
Okay.
And I must also say that we have received a lot of support, both from the public and also other government institutions that are critical in ensuring that our programs run on course and eventually succeed.
Okay, Governor Lee Kinyanjui of Nakuru, thank you so much for your time this evening. We really appreciate it. He's a great salesman for Nakuru. He's covered everything he wanted to say in this interview. I just want to show you, we were looking at this live signal from Ngong Road, and the Deputy Governor here in Nairobi, we were hoping to speak to him. Mutahi Kahiga has been meeting with the Karen and Langata District Association. It was a forum they called the Social Evening to talk about the issues around the city of Nairobi. He was there all evening, so unfortunately we're not able to speak to Mutahi Kahiga. That just ended. We look forward to welcoming him on the show in the weeks ahead, and so that's happening here in the city, and that's also all the time we've got for this first edition of Sidebar. We're back at 10 p.m. Are our schools failing our children? We've got a panel of experts. We'll see you then at 10 p.m.